Ears English listeners, you may be surprised to hear me talking. Lindsay and Michelle are not here today. I am here, Jessica Beck, with another Michelle, my friend Michelle Taylor. Welcome to All Ears English, Michelle.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
So guys, we have a very fascinating conversation for you today because Michelle is currently looking for a job. And guys, we know a lot of you are changing positions this year, changing jobs. People from around the world are reevaluating what they're doing and why they're doing it. So a lot of people are in this transition phase right now. And you know what, guys? It is not the same job hunting world as it was before. So we have some really amazing insights for you today. So before we get to these 3 tips, Michelle, can you tell us a little bit about what your job was before you started job hunting?
So I worked at a big bank for 20 plus years. I worked in the same department, although I had different jobs every 4 to 5 years. It was all within the same department at the same bank. I didn't have to do any sort of formal interviews. I didn't have to update resumes or anything for all of the different job changes I had. So when I got to the end of those 20 plus years in March of last year, and like so many other people in the world was like, this isn't it. Went ahead, gave a big old fat notice and took some time off. Hung out with family, that sort of stuff. Now that I'm back in it, I've had some pretty interesting and eye-opening things, not only from the 20 plus years, but this is just, this market right now is just like no other.
Oh, it's wild right now.
So many mixed messages too, with what you're hearing as opposed to what I'm actually seeing and all that sort of stuff.
So by mixed messages, do you mean like how the media is portraying the job market compared to what you're actually seeing inside the job market? Like, are those 2 things different?
I feel like they are. Yeah. So I consume a lot of news, very broad. From what I've been hearing, everything is very vague about there's nothing but millions of job openings, millions of unemployed people. Yeah. So what's the disconnect? What's not happening?
Then why is it hard to find a job?
As someone who's been now looking actively for, 6-7 weeks, I can tell you from my experience, I think the biggest thing is no one is really willing to pay what I think is a fair market value, not just for the work I do, but sort of across the board. I think the pay and the benefits it's still nowhere that it should be. The second thing is all of the automation, all of the new digital processes and things, that you need to go through to even get to any sort of application or a hiring manager. That in itself, you could take a course on and still probably have more to learn. But there's lots of jobs, lots of people looking for jobs, but it's just not like you can walk in anywhere and just get one.
I think it also has to do about which stage or which level of your career you're at, because when people say
certainly
employers are, desperate for people, so they're raising the wages. These are for entry-level positions that they're raising the wages, right?
Correct.
Just according to the people that I know that, own companies and hire people, they're raising entry-level positions. But if you're already at an advanced stage in your career and you have already demanded a certain level of salary, the big companies are like, we can't afford to pay more for the people with all the experience. So it really is a lot of mixed messaging for sure. So a lot of our students listening are also at very high levels in their career. So guys, this is an important thing to realize, that what you are reading about the job market in America and elsewhere may not be what you meet in reality. So let's get into the first digital aspect here, because as you said, this whole process now is totally different. I mean, even like in the way long ago past, if I were looking for a job, it's like, I mean, what, in my 20s or something, I'd be dropping off physical resumes. And even then you're like, man, looking for work is so hard. It's like a job, even looking for a job. That doesn't even compare to the time you put in today, though. So a piece of this time consuming process is because what is it? ATS. Now, this is what made me want you to come on the show to explain this, because I'd never heard about this before, but this is like the central core digitized way companies are finding people online. So what is ATS?
Okay, so I had also never heard of this before, and this is ruling a lot of, so maybe more for, clerical, sort of white collar, that sort of stuff. But apparently it's now also spreading into more of the retail, hospitality, quote unquote entry level jobs. This is now catching fire. So it's a good time for anyone to learn about it. Applicant tracking software. And so what this is when corporations, mostly large corporations, but like I just said, many smaller are getting into it because it, it relieves so much intensive labor for the hiring managers and HR departments. You submit a resume, but before it even goes to a hiring manager, it gets run through one of these ATS systems. There's several out there. And what these systems do is they look for keywords, prior experience, previous employers, places of education, things like that. So if your resume either doesn't have the exact components that that particular employer's put in, or it's not phrased or even physically formatted correctly, the ATS system will disregard that resume.
Oh my gosh.
And it won't even get seen by a hiring manager. So
I remember when it was just people involved in this process and discussing like making your resume stand out, right? Like, how can I make mine unique and different so it's noticed by the hiring manager, right? And like, I mean, now that we have this information, we know you literally cannot do that or a person will never see it. Like it has to be formatted perfectly. So,
I mean, sadly, I guess it's a general assumption, and this is all, again, just based on my personal experience. That's the impression that I'm getting. That whole stand out should be the keywords is what's going to make it stand out, because you're never going to stand in if it doesn't get through this automated system. And like I said, each company has their own criteria for what they're looking for. But so immediately you have that firewall to sort of try to break through. So another thing they say when you're doing, job applications, submitting your resume, you want to make them unique to each position that you're applying for, which,
oh my God, that sounds exhausting.
it is. I haven't done, I have like a couple different generic formats, but you can't do that for every single one. I mean, I suppose you could, but I don't.
You can't, you're a mom, you have life. Like you don't have time. You can't do like 24 hours a day on this.
People have lives,
right.
People have things they need to do and things they want to do. So I don't want to sit and change every third bullet point to make sure that it hits that one line in the qualifications of what I'm applying for, and hopes that it at least makes it to the first, HR department, to maybe even be looked at, to then be seen by a person who isn't looking for the formatting, this and that. And so that's been extremely eye-opening. And like I said, right now it's used by a lot of larger corporations and such. But it sounds like it's going to be a thing. It's spreading.
So at the very least, it's used specifically by corporations that craft it to their own needs and what they're looking for. But it's also used by the job hunting websites, right? To like sift. I just knocked my microphone, to just like sift through, and before they even put these resumes in front of the companies using the sites, I guess. So guys, I mean, this is the first tip for a reason, because if you don't understand what the ATS is doing to your resume, what you need to do to get past this very first gate, guys, a person will never even see this. You could do all the research into the company. You could read about the, the visions and values and be really stoked about this
You
job.
can have the experience, the education, the qualifications.
Right.
But yes, if it's not parsed out in a way that that particular company's ATS system or service or can use and see, there's a good chance you're not going to get your resume in front of a real life person who obviously would be able to see and read the value if they as a person were reviewing it themselves.
So this brings us to the second point, because I'm sure students out there, if they only listen to this first point, they're going to be in a panic, right? Just like, how do I know? What is the format? What are the words? So this brings us to the second point, guys. And here at All Ears English and our sister show, my show, IELTS Energy, we are all about asking for help if you need it and being very intelligent with your resources and your time as an adult. So if you're trying to do this this job hunting on your own and you're not finding success, you're not even getting nibbles by the right people, and you're like, I have wasted weeks. What is wrong? It might just be all of the stuff we're talking about, the ATS software, guys. So you might want to spend a little bit of money to have an expert help you that knows about this stuff. So point number 2, a professional resume writer or assistant. So have you looked into this, and have you used an expert to help you with your resume, Michelle?
So the first 3 weeks, I did not. I did my own, scrapped it all together, found that I was being inundated with, because I did my resume while I've been applying. The first couple of weeks, I just posted my resume on several of the larger sites, being lazy to see who might come to me.
Sure.
And I was just inundated with sales. So while I understand that sales are sales and they're just going to spit at whoever they can, it just seemed a little bit more than I thought it should be. And I have 20 plus years of banking. I think I got one, interested email about banking. So that's when I started getting into the ATS. And you can go out, there are several different ways you can do free resume reviews. And I'll tell you right now, the majority of them, they're doing that. So they review your resume, give you all kinds of critiques. And the idea is that then after, because they have your email, they will then start chasing you to use their services to rewrite your resume.
Of course. That's how online sales work.
Exactly. That's our economy, and they're free to do that. And I'm free to block them after I use them. But so I did 3 different reviews of my resume from 3 separate different companies. All 3 of them came back with my resume as showing that I had 50+% sales experience. And that was why.
So weird.
And I cannot reiterate enough that there's not one single indication whatsoever at all. So I then did pay for and use a service to have my resume rewritten. What I got back, I will tell you, I don't know if it was great, but I'm personally glad I did it. I have a really hard time bragging about myself, talking about accomplishments, so they say, oh, don't just list the things you did.
Yeah.
Yada, yada. That's everywhere. Which I argue that a little bit, because I know people who hire and they do want to know what you did, not just what you accomplished. But
for sure.
So I did use it. But when I got my results back, I really just sort of mashed it up with what I already had and just kind of stole a couple of, phrasings and that sort of thing like that.
Okay.
But the guidance specifically
was necessary.
Well, I specifically told them that, I'm doing this because of having this through the ATS. Most of the places I'm applying to, or who should be looking at my resume, I know use ATS.
Yeah.
And so I just need to get this reworked so that sales is nowhere to be found, first of all, let alone maybe my actual 20 years of banking should come up as some sort of experience. So that was helpful. And I'm glad that I did it. But I will also say, even if you don't use a writer, a professional service, do a review. There's so many free ones out there, because some of them really do have some good feedback.
Yeah.
But it's just everything is so arbitrary when it comes to this. I don't care where you go. You could have the most perfect resume, put it in a different service. Their job is to come back with, this isn't right. This can be
They have to say
improved, right?
something.
Because they want you to use the service, which is fine. So I'll leave it up to each individual, and it depends on the responses they're getting and that kind of thing. But I definitely think it's worth running your resume through a couple of freebie ones, and just kind of seeing if there's anything that you can work out. But
Yeah.
there's so many do's and don'ts.
Of course.
And
We
they
could have
all,
a whole other episode on the do's and don'ts of
oh,
resume
truly.
writing.
And so many of them negate each other that
I know.
you can
It's
just spend
like,
so much time redoing, rewriting, and editing. So yeah, that was a lesson learned. I'm just not going to now, just sticking. I've spent enough time doing that. And of course it's important, but yeah, you're never going to have the most ideal resume,
well,
you're
of
just not.
course. I mean, the whole motto of All Ears English is connection, not perfection. And guys, you are just hoping to connect to the right job. And you know what? This is something we say on IELTS Energy. You control what you can and you let go of what you can't. So if it is within your power to have someone help you with your resume, that saves time. It'll point you in the right direction. However, if you're just beginning this process and you're not sure if you want to invest in the job hunting, like Michelle said, use 2 or 3 free services just as an eye-opening insight into your own resume and go from there. But above all, guys, trust yourself. Just let it be market tested. If you're getting the job offers you want, awesome. Don't change anything. If you're not getting the job offers you want, well, you need to look for a different way, right? So let's talk about this last third tip, Michelle, because I'm sure you've posted on a variety of sites. And I know as someone that works online, the freedom and flexibility of being online is fantastic, but it is also the bane of my existence sometimes because there's never just one way to do anything. There are like 20 different options, and you're hearing this is the best and that's the best. And like, how do you know unless you try out all the job hunting sites? So in your experience, just to wrap up, what has been the best experience that you've had on a site and the worst experience you've had on a site?
Okay, so I will say, first of all, I know a lot of other people who are in my position and have been the last year and a half. They're transitioning. They, take some time off or just said, screw this and gone somewhere else or whatnot. Everyone has a different particular site that they swear by. They just swear by it. And they're all different. I mean,
exactly.
they're all different. So it's, I think, great to get input from other people. Sure. But so for me in particular, I don't know if I should name sites, but
you can.
Okay, so everyone swears by LinkedIn. I've got my LinkedIn. It's cool. It's connected me with a lot of people over the years that I haven't seen in a while or whatnot. For me, I think ZipRecruiter has been the best one. Awesome. It's certainly the one I've received not only the most, amount of job postings and things that are more suited to me individually in my resume, but I've had so many different people reach out to me through there. Unfortunately, none of them are work from home, so I have to dismiss them because I have that as qualification of even applying, and that's okay though. But either way, for me, ZipRecruiter has just been top of just every day. Indeed is also awesome. A really good one.
Yeah.
And then there's another one that I don't even want to name because I love their motto and they're to help mothers and working families and things like that. I have things I applied for from like the beginning of December and still there's nothing. And apparently they're more motivational than I guess, employment getting from people I've talked to. But so there's, Monster. I've gotten some good stuff off Monster.
Man, there are so many sites.
There's so many. Yeah, the emails. I get up every morning and it's just the first half hour is just me moving and organizing, all of the different emails. So, and every site has a ton of resources. So be it resume, interview tips, that kind of stuff. Oh, and I will say, I never knew this site existed and I'm now obsessed with it. It's called Glassdoor. Oh, and what they do is they give real people giving real input and feedback into companies they worked for, companies they've interviewed with recently, salaries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I really love that one.
Yeah, glassdoor.com is great, guys. Especially if you are going for positions where they ask you what you want to be paid. I always like that question is always so heavy and tricky. So glassdoor.com is a great place to start, guys. Okay, so just to summarize these 3 tips for everyone out there. And definitely come back to the blog, allearsenglish.com. This is episode 1746. If you want to see some of this information in word form, in written form, I should say. So guys, the first tip is to understand what ATS is. I had it written down. I don't have it. What is the acronym? Automatic Applicant tracking software. Applicant tracking software. So understand what that is, guys, because the companies you are applying to, the job sites that you are posting your resume to, maybe and probably these things are using ATS. And if you are not seeing the responses, then it may be due to your resume being improperly worded and formatted. And in that case, guys, try some free resume sort of proofreaders, helpers, assistants, editors, whatever they call themselves. Try some free services, see what the feedback is. If you still don't get results, just pay someone. Just hire someone, read reviews on this company, service, whatever. Find someone to help you so you can get the job, right? Don't waste time. Use the resources if you have them. And the third thing is, you know what? Cast a wide net. There are so many jobs, sites out there. Some are better for certain professions. So cast a wide net, ask other people in your industry, and see what responses you get. The more you get on, say, ZipRecruiter, spend more time on that site, right? Exactly. All right. Michelle, this has been so much information. I really hope I can have you on the show again in the future. Maybe when you land the perfect new job, we can talk about how you did that.
Yeah, because I'm sure it'll be coming soon. But yeah, I just, it's those salaries, though, I got to say, well, they are raising maybe the entry levels, and that's fantastic. But we all know those should have been raised 10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Exactly.
It's just, and no one's even asking for a lot. It's like 3 jobs and they're offering such little pay. I mean, you can just read between the lines on so many. So again, that to me, my summary was what a surprise all that was. They make it sound like it's just a feeding frenzy, and it's
right.
It's not, because no one wants to give anybody a real benefit. So that's out here, if we're fortunate enough to be able to sort of bide our time and eat ramen for, a few more months, then so be it, because a lot of us are done doing what we were doing.
And you have to support yourself and your family in the future, right? So just accepting the first thing that comes along is not going to set you up for long-term success. So definitely, guys, value yourself, respect yourself and what you're looking for as well. I think that should be the 4th and final tip. All right, Michelle, thank you so much. And good luck with the job hunting.
Good luck. I hope this helps even just one person. It's really something out here.
It's really something. That's the quote. That's the t-shirt. It's really something out here, guys. All right. Okay. Have a good day, Michelle.
All right. Talk to you later.
Bye.